robmacca's Tales from the Television.
Oh, hello. Welcome to a special Crossroads editions of robmacca's Tales from the Television. Soap operas remain the most popular programmes on British television today. Who of us hasn't seen EastEnders, Emmerdale or Coronation Street? But there were soap operas even before these, and one of the oldest British soaps, I think probably the oldest, is Crossroads, and it was a fabric of my life growing up. I remember it being on ATV/Central, and it would be the family time, when we would all gather in the living room and sit down in front of the television. I remember often being sat on the floor in front of the fire at my mum's chair at about 6:25, Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays, or they kept changing the days, and watching Crossroads. And it wasn't until, you know, I grew up and people said the wobbly sets, the dodgy acting or whatever, that it was famous for. But Crossroads for me was television, and one of the main characters of course was Noele Gordon, Meg Mortimer, and she, I suppose, was the first matriarch of television in Britain. And of course soaps come and soaps go, as we've looked at in the past, and Crossroads is one of those endearing soaps that we watched repeatedly, week in, week out. In fact, quite often there were around 12 to 14 million viewers for each episode. When you think of Coronation Street and EastEnders today getting around about 8 to 9 million, Crossroads is doing pretty well. I remember when the papers reported that Meg Mortimer was to be axed from Crossroads. It broke my heart. And I remember that bonfire night edition of Crossroads, not knowing whether Meg would survive the fire. Remember this?
I must pick that up from David, saying that everything's urgent.
Yes. Jill, she sounded urgent.
Oh my God! The motel! It's on fire! Mom!
Sam, where are you going? I'm not afraid of fire anymore, Betty. Sam!
And the suspense kept us on the edge of our seats, not knowing whether Meg would survive or die in that fire. Sadly, it wasn't a happy ending for Crossroads. Central decided it was time to axe the programme. And to be honest, in the latter years of Crossroads, I'd stopped watching it, started work, and so was no longer in at that time in the evening to watch the soap. But it was the most influential programme of my youth, until of course Brookside came along. And we'll be looking at Brookside in the next episode of Rob Macca's Tales from the Television.
Meg, are you all right?
I've had a tranquilizer, that's all.
That's not setting a very good example for your daughter.
If you've been through what I've been through the last couple of hours.
Like what?
Doesn't matter now.
Is that you or the tranquilizer talking?
To be truthful, the tranquilizer. I'll explain later.